Over 90% of security incidents involve some kind of human error somewhere along the lines. So a good question to ask yourself is, what is the point in spending thousands and thousands of pounds in high-end security systems if you still have this massive security hole which can be caused by someone making a mistake? So let's look at some examples of how everyday errors can lead to security breaches. An obvious one: sending confidential information by email. So there's no malware attack here, but if you were to accidentally send, I don't know, a client list, or a member of your staff accidentally sent some pricing, this kind of thing, this could be a security breach. It could be personal data, in which case it could be a GDPR breach as well. Reusing passwords, multiple websites. So if you've spoken to anyone in IT security, that is one of their pet hates, is people that reuse passwords. It's really, really dangerous practice. Most people now know that they shouldn't do that. I'm sure people in your business have been trained not to do it, but people still regularly do it. Leaving a computer unlocked in a public area. So, okay, we're probably, less of us are sitting in coffee shops and pubs and bars at the moment than we may normally be, but we know the scenario. Everyone puts their mobile phone down on the table. Most people have a mobile phone connected to a business account. It might not have a password on it. Saving data to USB sticks, it's an old one. People still do it, or putting USB sticks, they don't know the source of them, into a computer. And one that a lot of us still do, and maybe don't even know there's a risk involved, but working on confidential information on public Wi-Fi. Public Wi-Fi, you've got no idea whatsoever whether it's secure. It's very, very easy for people to compromise public Wi-Fi, or create Wi-Fis that you might think are a public one, but it's actually a criminal on the other end. All these kinds of things, we're told not to do them, but people regularly do them. So just to be clear, I'm not saying that you shouldn't invest in security systems. It's just that the cost of training your staff really is minimal in comparison to some of the other spend that businesses make. So why on earth would you not train your staff first before spending all this other money? Few organizations are doing it at the moment. So why is that? Well, often there's not the knowledge in-house to train people. So particularly if you don't have an in-house IT team, how do you train your staff on IT security if you don't have any experts in it? Obviously, your staff find IT security training boring, right? It's not the most exciting thing. I can't imagine there's many people sitting there rubbing their hands, getting really excited because they've got an IT security training session coming up. It's not really an activity that's seen as generating value either. What would you rather have your sales team on the phone calling up prospects, or in a cybersecurity training session? I think we all know the answer to that. And finally, people are working remotely now. It's even more difficult to do this sort of stuff. You can't get people in a room and get this training out of the way. You've got to kind of rely on them doing it. It's not easy to do. It's not easy to track. So really, it becomes a real problem for organizations, and that's generally why it doesn't happen. But as we've discussed, the need for this is greater than ever with everyone working from home at the moment. So to put it in context, I'm sure you're spending money on IT security systems. You may even have Mimecast email security already. You're probably spending money on insurance, possibly cyber insurance. And if you add all that up, it probably comes to a fair amount of money. But if you're not doing training, then you're really compromising the effectiveness of all this other stuff for something that actually costs the least amount of money. So I'm going to hand over to Catherine now to explain how cybersecurity training can reduce the risk, and actually how easy it is to do.
Great, thanks, Bruce. So Mimecast has an awareness training platform, how to make the traditional method of cybersecurity more effective with training. So how we did this is we bought a company called Untitled, and they did research into how to make training effective and actually make a difference. And what they realized is, instead of putting people in a room and training them up, that tends to go in one ear out the other, because they go on the defensive mode. The way to make people actually change their behavior over time is to keep their attention span, so short clips. They also noticed that humour really worked to train people up and get people to enjoy learning without even realising they were doing so. Making sure that the scenarios were able to picture themselves in and very relatable. So that's what Mimecast has done. So we have engaging video content on situations across the board, whether it's tailgating, picking up a USB to phishing attacks, all on scenarios that you'll be pretty familiar with, even if you don't have a security background. They're just day-to-day scenarios and how they can put a business's cybersecurity at risk. And these videos are all 1 to 2 minutes long. And then you have human error and sound judgment, who are consistent characters. They kind of act like the devil and the angel. And of course, they tend to go with the human error consequence. And then you see how that plays out. You then will get quite a question, just one, after that video. And it will be which is the best answer, and you can see how you rank against your other colleagues. That naturally starts conversations if you are in the office, and if not, it can really resonate why you might be the minority, and really gets you thinking on why that is the case, and it will explain how you can improve your answer. All of this information feeds into a trackable dashboard. So this means from an admin's point of view, ProDrive would be able to work with you on assessing your current security risk with the intentions of your colleagues, their mindset, and then also pull in the data of the results of their interaction with the awareness training platform. You're also able to see your industry benchmark and how you're doing there, and the engagement levels. So what are the performance statistics of your awareness training platform with your colleagues? So how many people are completing the training? How many are getting them wrong? You're able to target and drill down on who's doing what. So who are the top performers, who are the worst performers, and then come up with management techniques on having a conversation with them on why maybe they're putting the business at risk, or do prizes for the ones that are doing the best. So it's a really useful, intuitive way of understanding your cybersecurity and addressing the problems that are really tailored to your company. Another feature of awareness training that we have that's really exciting is our phishing simulation. So you're able to deploy a phishing simulation attack to your colleagues and to track the results of that. Now we have hundreds of templates in the awareness training platform, anything from Amazon to even a COVID-19 email. And what you're able to do is to tailor the information as you would like, or use one of our templates, and then deploy that email out. And it would look like a real phishing attack. And you wouldn't tell your colleagues. So you're able to measure the engagement rate all in a safe environment. So you're able to measure, do they open the email? Do they click on any links? Do they put them at risk of a credential harvesting attack and put in their details onto a website? And if the answer is yes or no, you're able to measure these statistics all in that dashboard I mentioned. So it's a really useful way on understanding your customers' perspective on cybersecurity, but then also putting that to the test. And we also have the risk scoring dashboard, so you're able to really address what the problems are that are specific to your customers and to your business, and really understand how you can target those results. And finally, we have a brand new feature of awareness training that is really useful for admins to set this up with ProDrive. So what this means is if you do have email security, this feature is available to you with Mimecast. So that's the email security product of Mimecast in conjunction with the awareness training product. And what this is able to do is capture a real life phishing attack to your company. We're able to capture it, strip out the malware, and then redeploy it and analyze what would have happened if that attack wasn't protected from Mimecast, with Mimecast, and see the engagement levels and what might have happened with that attack. So it means that it's really relatable. It was a real life attack that we protected against, but what were the results if we hadn't stopped that coming through? So it's a really good dynamic way of demonstrating the value of cybersecurity to the business.